Well, good morning, friends, and welcome to my channel. I am Crystal, and this is Homemaking on the Homestead. And today is Friday, yay! So we are having a little coffee with Crystal, which is my chatty kitchen table talk. So just to let you all know in advance, this is a chatty video. So besides the typical fun things that I like to talk about and share with you guys, I want to talk about homemaking distractions and the two types of clutter in our life that can prevent us from having peace in the home and living a simple life. So ladies, grab your cup of coffee and let's chat. Well, here we are a little bit past the middle of February, and you know, it's still cold outside. I know some of you ladies that live in the more northern states are probably still under snow and cold. Here we can start to see about this time a little bit of signs of spring. And one of them that I was outside, my husband and I were actually out sitting on our deck the other evening, just enjoying a sunset. Believe it or not, we had sun. And I all of a sudden started hearing one frog. And of course, we have a lot of water around us with ponds and creeks and things. And so when spring begins, the frogs just go crazy. So every time I hear that first frog croaking somewhere out there, I'm like, oh, that means spring is right around the corner. And then yesterday was beautiful. It was like 53 degrees. The sun was out. I went outside, spent time taking a walk and just enjoying my beautiful spring day. And today they're predicting snow. So I don't know that we're going to get it. I mean, the last I looked at the temperature outside, it was like 40, and it's cold, it's windy. The sky kind of has that snow sky look, but the temperatures just aren't right. So unless everything starts dropping really fast, I'm thinking that we're not going to have the predicted snow, which I won't argue about. Actually, I won't argue about it either way. You know, it is what it is. We'll see. But that's kind of the my February winter update. We contemplated should we go to the store just in case? And then we were like, we're fine. We've got lots of stuff. And I doubt we will be snowed in for 2 weeks again like we were before. I feel like I want spring more, to come more than the reality that it is actually right around the corner. I am ready for, a little bit warmer temperatures and whatnot. But then that's typical in February, right? Anyway, okay, enough with weather. Are you guys ready for spring too? Let me know, and how far away is it for you? Anyway, okay guys, let's move on to the kitchen now. What kind of things do you have going on in your kitchen today? I actually don't have anything going on because I've already done it all. If you saw my last video, you saw the meals I prepped ahead of time, and we are still finishing off that soup tonight, which has been so good. And we're going to have that, and I have still some corn muffins in my freezer, so I'm going to do that. I already made a salad, so we've got that ready to go. So I don't need to do any dinner preps. And then yesterday, we had finally run out of all the Valentine cookies and cupcakes. Even though I sent most all of it home with my grandkids, we still ended up with a lot, and maybe we'll have one or a cupcake or 2 cookies. So it took us a little while to get through it. Anyway, so yesterday I did some baking. One of my daughters does baking and then actually sells it. And she just sells it to people that her husband, my son-in-law, works for or works with. And so he will take it to work, and it always sells out so fast. She's a very good baker, I will say that. She's a good cook all the way around, so she does her mama proud that way. Anyway, and so she makes various types of cookies and cakes, and she's been doing this for a while, and years ago she even would do cinnamon rolls and then send those off with her husband. So this has been an ongoing thing that she does, and a nice little way to make a bit of side income money. Anyway, she had sent me a picture of some macadamia white chocolate chip cookies that were all kind of cutely packaged up, ready for her husband to take when he left for work. And the cookies sounded so good to me. So yesterday I decided I need to make those. So I'd already previously bought the white chocolate chips, I bought the macadamia nuts, so I was set to go, and yesterday was my day to make those. And I gotta show you these guys, okay? This is just a few of them. They made 3 dozen the recipe, but I'm telling you, these cookies are amazing. I mean, melt in your mouth. The flavor is fantastic, and I'll probably end up having to freeze some, or I don't even know if I want to give them away. Doesn't that sound selfish? Because they're so good. I can make more. I have more nuts, have more white chocolate chips. Anyway, but like I said, absolutely delicious cookies. So if y'all want a cookie that is maybe different than what you normally make, I'm going to leave the recipe below in the description box. I'm typically very, I make the same types of cookies over and over. I don't really vary a whole lot from that typically. And so, you know, it's usually chocolate chip, it's oatmeal, it's peanut butter, and that type of thing. But I really enjoyed making these, and they taste amazing. I've been finding out lately that refrigerating your cookie dough for a couple hours to overnight actually gives you a better cookie. Flavor-wise and baking-wise, it gives you a much better cookie. I was tempted to do that with these, but we wanted cookies that night, so so I didn't do it. Next time I'm going to try that and see if maybe they don't spread as much, or see what it does to the flavor and texture of the cookie. But I've noticed that, and then one of you ladies made a comment about that you had read that somewhere, that refrigerating your cookie dough actually improves flavor and texture. If you are familiar with that or have done that, you know, chime in, let me know. So what are you guys having for dinner tonight? Always my question. I would love to know that. Let's get the inspiration going here, and in the comment section, share what you're doing. You know, gives other ladies ideas if you're trying to figure out what am I going to have, or what am I putting on my menu this week. Maybe you'll get some good ideas from the rest of you ladies that post. I have gotten great ideas from you guys, so it's a lot of fun to see what y'all are having and all the good food that's being made out there in everyone's homes. It's really sweet to see. And also, are you doing any baking? Are you doing any cooking? Are you doing any winter canning or anything else in your home? Please share. That's always inspiring too. So, and I thank you guys that do share all that's going on in your kitchen and your comments and things like that. I really appreciate that. Before I get to the 2 types of clutter in our life, I wanted to quickly do an update on my notebook method of organizing my life. And I shared about this at the beginning of the year, that I couldn't find planners, and I've been trying different methods, and I finally last year came upon these, these, I think they're A5 size notebooks, and they come in a set of 4, and I had ended up using these quite a bit, and this year I wanted to be a little bit more structured in the way that I use them. So some of them I have, this is where I put my day-to-day list of things that I need to do. It's also where I have my calendars. This one is my grocery lists I write in here, pantry, things I need to add to my pantry, any kind of menu planning. This is all mostly food related. I don't have all of them here. This one that I'm using this morning is where I put all my notes for the videos that I do. So that one's dedicated to that. On my daily do's, I made a calendar. In fact, I gave you guys a free printable link, which I can put back down in the description box in case you missed that and you would still like to have a printable calendar. And so what I do is just at the beginning of the month, this was my plan, and so far, 2 months into the year, I'm still doing it, but glue the calendar onto the page, and then the rest of the pages have my day-to-day lists. So when February came around, I did the same thing. I glued February's calendar here, and right now I use it to write my daily to-dos. I put the date down. Jesus is enough. I thank the Lord for one thing for that day, and I ask Him for wisdom for my day. Underneath that, I begin to write all the things that I want to get done. And usually whatever I'm serving for dinner that night, And I have found that I love this system. I use different colored pens because I love that, and so every day I pick a new pen to use. I have this little basket that I set down with my notebooks, and in there I have my different colored pens, so I can always pick a new color for the day. And I have my glue stick, so that if I want to glue down the calendars or anything else, I can do that. And a pair of scissors to kind of trim and cut anything that I'm gluing down. Okay, I find a lot of creative fun in that. That might be more work than somebody has to do. So you know. What I like about this method is that it's totally customizable. It's inexpensive. It's 4 notebooks that you buy in a set. I can put the ones I have, but you can pick out any ones that you want. You know, whatever. Next time you're at the grocery store or Walmart or something, you know, just find the notebooks that suit your needs, whether they're small ones, big ones, it doesn't really matter. And then start customizing them in a way that works for you. Anyway, I found that a really frugal way to plan my days and keep myself organized. Now, I know a lot of people like to use their phone, and I think that's great too. I'm just not... I just don't use my phone necessarily in that way, so I have not done that. Occasionally, if that's all I have on hand, I will put notes in there and I will write things down in my phone. But typically, I'm a pen and paper gal, I guess you could say. So I like to do it the old-fashioned way. That's just, that's how I did it for so many years, and that's how I am continuing to do it. Okay, that is my quick little update on my calendar notebook method, and I may add, if I add things to it or do other things with it, I'm going to add to that and probably periodically give you updates just to give you guys ideas. I still have one notebook I haven't used, and I'm considering using that one for keeping track of the books I read, maybe jotting down various different Bible studies that I do, or anything I found, that I wanted to pull out from my Bible reading, or anything like that might be the 4th notebook. And, if I fill them up and I have to buy more notebooks this year, it's still frugal to me, and it's helping me to keep organized. Okay, ladies, let's move on to the 2 types of clutter in our life that can prevent our homes from being peaceful and living a simple life, if that's your goal. Okay, so the first type of clutter that I've talked about many, many times on my channel is just simply clutter. Do you have piles of books and piles of paper that need to be organized? Do you have things laying around that don't belong where they are? The old saying, a place for everything and everything in its place, is very important for keeping peace in your life. If you don't have a place for something, then you really need to ask yourself if it's something that important. Because if it's important, then typically we will find a place to put it. And I'm not talking about the clutter of everyday life, especially like if you have children or whatever. You're going to have stuff. Especially if you have young children, you got stuff. But as long as everything has a place, and things that are causing clutter and can be dealt with, you don't need to have that adding on to your already cluttered situation with kids. Also, one tip, if you do have children, because this is what I used to do, during the day, if the clutter gets overwhelming, is to take a break. Have all the kids take a break and just stop and just say, okay, we're going to do a reset. And pick up, clean up, have them put things away, and then don't pull out too many toys. Don't make things too available to them. I used to have all of my toys divided into totes, so the Legos, the building blocks, the dolls, the little cars, all those things were divided up, and I would only bring out 1 or 2 totes for them. I made it so that the mess was manageable, and that when I told them it's time to clean up, everything could be put away in about 5 minutes. If it takes longer than that, even if you get in there and help them or whatever, then there's too much. Okay, those are just some basic, if you have kids. If you don't have kids, then it's just a matter of piles and too much stuff. Clutter in the closets, clutter in the drawers. When I went through my house back in 2019 to clear it out and get ready for my daughter and her family to move in, I got rid of a lot. I had to really ask myself, do I need you know, this many 9x13 pans? Do I need this much in sheets and bedding and whatever I had? I worked to try to minimalize that into a reasonable amount that fit what we needed for that time period in our life. So, okay, let's move forward from the actual clutter, and that can really cause a disruption in our life. Distraction. I think clutter is definitely a distraction, and I am going to share the second type of clutter that can distract us from a peaceful life and from managing our homes better, and that is the clutter of a busy calendar. And we can be too busy. I think that our world glorifies being busy, that we're just so busy, we're going here, we're doing this, we're doing that, and somehow that's like a positive thing for us to be constantly busy. And it is something that is so easy to fall into. And I remember back when I had my kids at home and we were busy, there was a lot of things that pulled our attention in different directions. There are periods of time in our life where that can't be helped, but then we also have to say, well, how much of what is on the calendar is absolutely necessary, and how much of it is a distraction, pulling us in the wrong direction. I once read a book where the author said, that the Proverbs 31 woman, when you read that, nowhere in there was she heading off to Bible studies and heading off to do this and do that. And that is true. Her focus was, everything that's written about there was the focus on the home. Now, don't get me wrong, because I don't have any problem with Bible studies, women's groups, or any of those things. I think that they can actually be something that encourages us, ministers to us, and lifts us up. The problem is that I am talking about is when we have too much of that. If every single night you're going here and you're going there, if every single day you're carting the kids around here and there, and you're going and doing all the time, that's where the distraction comes in. That is where it creates home as this stopping point where we just come in, we eat, we shower, we sleep, and then, we head out again. And then all of a sudden, there really is no peace at home, and there is no simplicity at home anymore. And then what happens is that everything that we are doing in our home, we're not doing very well. Maybe we're behind on the laundry, or maybe the meals aren't getting planned and we're doing takeout too often, or maybe time isn't being spent with our children and our husband, or whatever it may be, we're not doing it well. And there is something about understanding that doing less in order to do the things that we need to do, we can do them well. And we're better able to do what we need to do if we have the time to do it. Did that make sense? I liked this scripture verse in 2 Corinthians 1:12, and it is Paul, the Apostle Paul's letter to the Corinthians, and he says, and so he's writing this letter, so it kind of jumps in the middle of the letter here, but I wanted to read the whole verse. It says, "For our boasting is this, the testimony of our conscience, that we conducted ourselves in the world in simplicity and godly sincerity, not with fleshly wisdom, but by the grace of God, and more abundantly toward you." So there is something to, scripturally speaking, to living a life of simplicity. And I think that means living life at a slower pace. It means examining the things that we do have going on and saying, well, what can I get rid of? What is absolutely necessary? What are the things that give me the most encouragement, give me the most edification? What are things that I consider maybe part of my ministry or anything like that? What are those things? And then what is everything else? And also to ask yourself, what is getting neglected in my home that's creating a lack of peace and a lack of feeling like life, that simplicity of life? And then ask yourself, what can I get rid of? What is most important? Prioritize. And what can I then get rid of that isn't serving me right now? And I am serving it, and it is not helping create peace in my life. I think another thing to consider if you have a busy schedule is to ask yourself, what am I not doing that needs to be done in order to do this activity over here? What is that? And then evaluate its importance or the importance of other things in your life in order to be able to do that and still do that activity. That is my little chat this morning on the 2 types of clutter in our life, those things that create distractions, that prevent us from having peace in our home, that can prevent us from a life of being able to slow down and living that simple life. I hope you guys found that encouraging, interesting, and if you have anything to add to that, I would love to hear it. Do you have a busy schedule and you're looking to trim that down and just didn't know where to start? Do you have any experiences of these types of things in your life as well? And trying to get to that point where you can have a more peaceful home life and the home is taken care of and not neglected. I think it is time for me to get on with my day this morning. I've got my little to-do list all here written down and things that I need to take care of in my home today, but I've thoroughly enjoyed sitting down and having my cup of coffee this morning with you guys. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And I hope you all go out and have an awesome, a wonderful day and a blessed weekend. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.